Live from Sacramento City Hall, it's the SacVibes podcast.
Hi everyone, it's January 22nd, 2025. My name is Ari Green. I'm from the community engagement team, and you're chilling with SacVibes, the local government podcast where we educate, engage, and empower residents from the city of Sacramento. We have to my left.
Oh, I was going to say, I thought you were going to introduce me. I was like, okay, we're doing something different.
Do it, yeah, go ahead.
No,
Let's see, what you got?
I'm Lynette. I'm your co-host, Lynette. Good to see everybody and hear everybody.
What's up, everybody? I'm Greg with the community engagement team. Hello.
And we have a special guest.
My name is Greta Soos. I am from Community Development Department.
Okay,
Excited to be here today.
development.
All right, welcome.
Thank you for being here today, Greta. So first, want to do a mental health check. How's everyone doing?
Terrible.
Mental
Terrible. Like,
Terrible.
I'm like,
Lots of sighing
lot
going
of
on.
sighing,
Lots
lots
of
of, I mean, I don't even know.
What's the meme where the dog is in the middle of the fire? Everything's fine.
Oh, yeah, he's burning in the
Yeah.
house. Yeah.
That's kind of the vibe right now.
Yeah.
We're just doing at this point. We're just doing. Just America is America, so we just trying to figure out where we fit in. You know.
I also have to remind myself that we are citizens. We
Yeah.
belong here, right? And whatever happens, it's going to be tough because we have the right to be here. And I have to keep.
I
telling
don't
myself.
know with this new administration. I mean, I don't know. Am I legally
They're gonna
a
try.
citizen? Like, I was brought over here. My ancestors were brought over here enslaved. So does that end my birthright citizenship? I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a little confused. So at this point, I don't think anybody's safe.
Nobody's safe. Nobody can mark themselves safe on
My
Facebook
family's been
anymore.
here 7-8 generations, but we might not be safe. So I don't know.
I'm trying to look at it more positively, but it's hard.
I'm ready to
tell
get
you
put
that.
out. I'm like, can I sign up to get deported somewhere? Sign me up. I'm ready to go.
Where you want to go? Where you
Anywhere.
Yeah.
Something tropical is where I'd want to go.
Jamaica man. Right? So, but I think we're all just doing, and I think we just stand in solidarity with folks that are here, that are nervous and don't understand what's going on. It's okay to feel nervous because I don't think any of us know. But what I will say is I'm appreciative that we are a sanctuary city and our leadership is in support of still keeping diversity, equity, and inclusion, still rocking with racial equity goals and lens on the decisions we make. So we are continuing present program, but we are also being very mindful of what's happening on the federal level.
And gearing up for the many attacks that will come.
Yeah.
Yep. Hasn't even been 1 week yet.
And I'm just, I also want to acknowledge the families in Southern California that have lost their homes.
Oh, yeah.
You see a lot about rich folks in the Palisades, but it wasn't just that. It was Black and brown communities in Altadena and Pasadena. And so one of our very own, Rory Kaufman, who has been a leader in the legislature and the Black community here, his sister lost her home, his mother lost her home, the mother passed away, and the funeral home that the mother's body was in also burned down. So when I say tragic, Mr. Rory Kaufman, you are in our prayers. So it's a lot.
That is a lot.
It's been heavy for sure.
Yep.
On that note.
Yes.
Hey, we're trying to do
City
good
Council.
things here in the city of Sacramento.
Yeah.
Trying to
That's
do
right.
good things.
Yeah.
So we're going to go with some council updates. And I think some good news. Shout out Grant Pacers.
Oh.
Ooh,
Pacer
what happened?
alumni.
Shout out alumni. Shout out Coach Reed, which is your brother,
That's right.
who is the coach of Grant. And they took the state all the way to the state championships
That's right.
and killed it.
Yeah. Brung home some hardware.
That deserves one of these. Is that on? Yeah.
And y'all know we have to put him on timeout because he gets out of hand with that button. So
That's all right.
okay.
That's all right.
But yeah, so that was some great news. But they were recognized at council, well deserved. The council and mayor recognized Grant High School and the football team.
Last night, Kevin put on, I guess he was gifted a sweater, a Grant sweater. So he was like, hold on, y'all, let me change gears. And he put on the sweater and
I love
At
it.
council.
Okay, Mayor. I love it.
Nice.
Yeah, so council, not too much going on. I think one of the most exciting things that I saw was that our economic development team accepted a grant from the US Environmental Protection Agency, specifically to clean up a property that is owned by the Greater Urban League. I think they're going to have some development, some housing. It's a really dirty site, and so
The brownfield across. Okay, I know what you're talking about.
yeah,
They're
and
trying to
so
put like a venue kind of community space there. Right?
community space,
What's
some
the name of it
housing.
again?
See, there you go. With some, you tell me.
No,
Every time he asks questions we don't know the answer
I think
to.
it was the gathering space. Or, I don't know.
They do have like an odd name with it. We did hear it before, but I don't remember right now.
But
I
with
wanna say it
that
was
felt, you
odd.
know he was going to ask something we didn't have the answer to.
Can I be curious?
We'll find
I mean,
out on
like,
Friday. You
Dang.
can ask Cleveland on Friday at EII.
Walking around the house. What's going to happen? You have to have breakfast. Oh, sorry. The table fell apart.
Oh my God. I think I need to leave.
Right.
It's a safe space there. I swear it's safe here.
But they got a $750,000 grant to clean up that space. So
It's great news.
great news. So super excited about that. Leyne Milstein has become our interim city manager. That happened the week before. And so she has hit the ground running. I actually saw her at the MLK March on Monday.
Oh, cool.
So I attended the Oak Park one. I do the extra mile. So we start at the Oak Park Community Center and we march to Sac City College, pick up a bunch of folks there, and then we march through Land Park, come up Broadway, and back down Freeport.
And your mom does that march for how long? How many?
Y'all about to get me killed. You know she don't like telling her age, but
I
let
didn't
me
know
just
that.
say,
Sorry, Miss Ella.
decades and decades. My mom is up there in age,
Many
and
miles.
so at one time, it was 4 generations. When my daughter was really small, it was me, my daughter, my mom, and my grandfather. He marched until he was like in his 90s
so
for that
cool.
march.
That's
So
what's up.
Love that.
we never miss it. Every year, never miss it. So it was great. Great to see our council members out there. Shout out to council member Kaplan, Jennings, Guetta, and Maple. If I missed a council member, I just didn't see you, but I'm just shouting out the folks that I saw. Our police chief and fire chief, they marched as well.
Did they play my music again? That
They
was just
did, and they
like-
had a new DJ.
Oh, they had a live one?
They had a live one.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
But we actually marched in silence the extra mile, which was weird. It's a little boring. I don't know if I would. I was like, I don't know if Dr. King cared whether we was jamming or not, because I'm used to like, we start turning up when we hit Martin Luther King. So it was different going up that hill. Last year, Greg provided a playlist, so we were turning all the way up. We was wobbling and
Yeah, great.
the Tootsie Roll. Let me see that Tootsie Roll. We were doing all of that.
Down
Greg
Stockton
Hagen.
Boulevard.
Right, talk about some.
Oh, that sounds fun.
So, yeah, but let's get to Greta. So you said you're with community development. What is community development? What are those departments?
Community development. Well, community development has the building division, planning division, code division, code enforcement, and also animal care. So Front Street is part of the community development department. So I'm in planning. I work in our long-range planning team. I'm a senior planner. I work primarily in housing subject matter areas. So my role is really focused on implementing policies and programs to just increase our housing production for all income levels with
And I'm over here just mean mugging Greg because he always asks me the damn planning questions. So now that you got the planner, he quiet. Where's your questions? He asked me. So what is
over here tapping her foot? That's the question.
You're looking at me like, go ahead. Let me see you ask this question.
So Lynette, tell me about
right here.
middle housing, the middle housing ordinance, and what is the difference between that and
Well, it's because we know so much already, Lynette. You know what's going on everywhere, so
She's out there all the time. Know everybody. Figured, okay, you must know.
Assessment.
Thank you.
Here I am. So
Okay.
So long range planning.
Well, not all your
Long-range
questions,
planning.
but
Tell me more about what makes it long range planning. I mean, I'm assuming it's just like you do things 30 years out or what?
yeah. So long range. So there's like current planning and long range planning. Current planners review development projects as they come in. Long range planning is focused on long term, like policy planning. So how do we want to shape our city in the future, looking out 8, 20, 40 years into the future, depending on like what we're kind of planning around. But, how do we want to grow as a city and accommodate housing and jobs and build, sustainably, around public transportation, more high density development, getting people to be able to support public transportation,
Right.
embedding equity, all of this. So, we have a team that focuses on different areas. So I'm more focused on housing in my work.
Okay, cool.
Well, I'd love to hear you talking about equity because when it comes to planning, let me just say the elephant in the room, it's a very white field. I've had the opportunity of presenting at some planning conferences, and I don't see people that look like us.
It's real.
And
They
so
ask too many questions.
right, too many questions.
You really do.
But in all seriousness, getting more people that look like us involved in planning. I've heard that there are some things that the city is doing, like the small developer boot camp. Can you talk a little bit about what that is and, more importantly, like why we're doing it?
Yeah, definitely. So just generally, I'll get overview of the whole program. So the city is launching or has launched a small developer incubator program. We have a few events this year for it, and the focus is really to, there's two things, right? There's building capacity for smaller developers, and then building capacity of those developers to be BIPOC developers, underrepresented, communities in that space, people who aren't normally found to be developers. So that's something that we really want to address through the pilot program.
And for those listening, BIPOC means Black, Indigenous, people of color. Usually when there's acronyms, you get a pie in the face.
Oh, no.
I'm helping you out today.
I'm a planner. I have so many acronyms.
So just be careful.
Be careful.
We might have to
You might have
you.
to have multiple pies.
Right.
We'll see how far I get.
We haven't had any pies in the face yet, so.
So that's
Yeah.
great. So getting folks of color into development is great. And I think even just realizing that there's folks that may have been gifted land or land has been, passed down to them and they don't know what to do with it.
Right.
Or you're a contractor and you've been doing building for years, but you also want to get into the development space. So is this the kind of program that someone like that
Yes.
could attend?
Absolutely. I think what we're trying to address is we've got, our big developers in the city who, build a lot of great projects, a lot of big multifamily or, single family home subdivisions. That's kind of what we've seen historically, right? And there are only so many players in that game because you have to have a lot of skin in the game and a lot of capital and experience to do these big projects. But that's not the only type of housing we want to see, too. Like moving forward, the city is trying to encourage more missing middle housing.
Oh, thank you for that, because that's one of the ones he
I
asked me
always be
about.
asking about missing middle.
So missing middle housing is, a type of housing that's between your single family home and like larger multifamily apartments. So duplexes, triplexes, bungalow courts, accessory dwelling units, your smaller scale, like 1 to 2, maybe 3 stories, but generally like, smaller scale. That's why they call it missing middle, And we recently adopted an interim ordinance that allows that type of development in the city, which is monumental, like historic, new ordinance that we have. I think Greg talked about maybe having our project manager for that, Nguyen, on to talk about missing middle maybe as a future item, because we could talk about that for a long time too, and the importance of that, allowing that type of development in historically single-family neighborhoods,
Right.
Exclusionary zoning, redlining, get into all of that. But this is part of that. We want to implement that. We want developers who can implement that, and people who live in those neighborhoods. We want to give them the tools to, build wealth, build the communities they want to see, meet the housing needs of our city, and give them the tools that they need to succeed in it.
So if you have been living in a certain neighborhood and you want to see changes, this is the workshop for you, I think, for people that want to catalyze change in their neighborhoods, right? And like you said, when we were planning for this episode, we were talking a lot about how missing middle is a portion of things that you're trying to get done. And I think that's when I was looking at researching the folks that funded some of these things, they were talking about incremental development.
Yeah.
So that's like this bigger project, I'm assuming, or?
Yeah, so we are partnering with a national nonprofit called the Incremental Development Alliance. So they're all about, starting with like a smaller project to get under your belt, something that you can more easily bite off and make, a small impact, and then turning that into a larger series of impacts in a neighborhood. And then once you have more experience on like maybe a smaller project, you can, go from there or continue to do these small impactful changes. So, it does apply not just to housing development, right? But if you see, a vacant storefront or if you maybe own a business and you maybe lease up a space and you want to get involved in changing the use or maybe, adapting some building to a different use, that is, that's also super applicable to this program. You can gain the skills to make that sort of change as well, not just residential. So.
Yeah, you mentioned accessory dwelling units, and that's something that I'm super interested in, and we'll make sure we put a link on the screen. But the city has a website that you can put your address in, and it'll immediately tell you if an accessory dwelling unit will fit on your property. And for those of you that don't know what an accessory dwelling unit or ADU, it's like a granny flat. So it's a home either in the front or the back of your existing home, and it's a lot smaller. But for me as a homeowner in Oak Park, where I have a pretty large lot and I sit up against an alley, it's the perfect location to do an accessory dwelling unit. Yeah. You could access it through the alley, and it's going to provide some additional income. And so, we're all about how do we stay in our neighborhoods and build generational wealth, and accessory dwelling units is definitely a really easy way to do it. So I'm excited about this project.
Absolutely. Yeah, we have so many resources on that webpage. adu.cityofsacramento.org is the link if you're interested.
And I'll flash that on the screen. So there's some events coming down the pipeline. Tell us more about what's coming.
Okay, cool. So our first event is happening on February 5th at the Pannell Meadowview Community Center.
Okay.
If you're interested at all in this type of project or, getting this sort of training or even just supporting it, I recommend you come to this event. It is going to be an intro lecture to the Incremental Development Alliance and the types of trainings that they're going to be providing.
Okay.
And it'll be like a really great networking event. So you'll basically be able to learn more about the future trainings that we're going to be hosting as part of this. and see kind of if it's a good fit for you, and maybe or maybe you know someone, but kind of just learning about what you're going to learn about.
So kind of like an overview of the whole incremental development,
Yeah.
missing middle,
Yes.
and just getting folks ready to take that next step.
Yes, exactly. So it's a free event.
Our favorite word, free.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, we'll have.
Is the event led by, is it our the city's planning department, so you and other staff, or is it led by the company or the organization you partnered with?
It's led by the Incremental Development Alliance.
Okay.
But I will say, so we have some trainings that they're going to be the lead for.
Okay.
They have a great curriculum that is really, I think it gives folks like this baseline knowledge of, okay, you want to do development. What do you need to know? How do you read a zoning code? How do you build a pro forma? What kind of loans do you need? So that type of stuff that the city, we don't really have that curriculum built in. And so it's great to have them as a partner coming in. But I mean, we also want to offer more trainings like beyond just the Incremental Development Alliance stuff, because we have tons of knowledge too as a city. And I think, like the missing middle housing ordinance, providing a training on that, like how do you navigate this ordinance? It's not all simple stuff. So
Yeah. I don't even know what a pro forma is. I was like, oh yeah, pro forma, sure.
yeah, I mean, I'm not really the right person to answer that, but it's basically like, the economics behind the project. Like, how do you make it pencil long term?
Make a pencil?
Make it pencil. So like your budget.
Yeah, it's like the budget for the project,
Oh,
basically.
the budget. Okay.
The land.
So, for instance,
costs.
like a lot of people want affordable housing.
Right.
And when you talk to developers, it doesn't always pencil out. So how much it costs developers to build affordable housing, sometimes they're like, I'd rather not even do the project, right? Unless you can have some mix, some affordable and some market rate, because it's just expensive. I think with affordable housing,
off of it.
you have to have prevailing wages, and there are certain requirements for affordable housing, which makes it a little bit more expensive for developers. But we as a city are like, people need housing that they can afford. So it's that balance of how do you meet the needs of the people, and you also don't make it where it's too much for the developers to say it doesn't pencil out, it doesn't make sense.
Okay,
Yeah.
I get it.
And I mean, lenders, banks are like kind of a big part of that too, because they need, if you don't have the capital for a project, like the money in your back pocket, you have to go ask a bank to lend you money for the project. So you need to show them that it pencils too. And I think that's important to know about development as well. I mean, that's basically what Lynette was saying. But it impacts the type of development that we see. Banks, they're like,
Yeah, for sure.
is that a project that's going to work, in that area or this type of housing?
Looking at the risks involved. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if, it's requiring like the union and it's labor jobs, then, that might cost more than this. So people don't understand all of the different aspects that come into when you're building housing.
Right.
And what kind of housing it is. So
Yeah.
So you talked about the overview on the 5th.
Yes,
There's a few
you're
other
right.
things happening. What comes after that?
There are other things. So we also have a full day workshop that is in March, on March 8th. So that will be a ticketed event. So that one's not free, but we are offering scholarships. And so that will be like the more in-depth training. That's like kind of the first stop for anyone who's interested in this is if you want to learn those skills that I talked about, like how to read a zoning code, how to pitch your project, what kind of loans you might need, building that pro forma. It's walking folks through an example project of, okay, like how do you do this from scratch?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then we're actually still kind of collecting.
And that one's in March, you said?
That one's in March 8th. Tickets for that will open on February 5th, the date of our lecture happening.
Okay, so right after they
UW.
can sign up for the
Yes.
March one. Okay.
Yes. And then after the full day workshop, we're also planning to host a longer boot camp that's more in depth. And that would be a smaller cohort of around like 10 to 35 individuals who have real projects they're trying to work through. So that would be like if you have a project or some land and you're like, okay, what can I really do with this? That would be a really good fit for you to have. It's basically like a longer term technical assistance program to walk you through step by step over a longer period of time.
And I'm assuming that one has a cost too.
It does, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So the workshop in March will be $150 to $190, depending on when you sign up. Again, there will be scholarships available. So if you're interested in that, you can apply. And then the boot camp, I believe, is supposed to be $600. So, and there's are also scholarships available for that.
Oh, good.
Yeah, but it's supposed to be like a multiple day. It's either like 2 days in person or 2 weeks virtually. So
Do you have a location for these yet, or is it still?
The boot camp? No. We're still going to determine whether to do that virtually or in person.
Oh, okay.
But the workshop will be at Oak Park Community Center.
The one in February.
The one in March.
Oh, March. Sorry.
February is at Pennell, Meadowview.
Oh, that's right.
Yes. That one's coming up quick. So get it on your calendars.
You heard that.
So February is the primer.
Yes.
And then March is the boot camp. And then there will be like additional virtual workshops.
More in depth. Yeah. The dates TBD. But yeah, those first two February and March events are what we have planned right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Well, thank you. Any more hard questions, Greg?
I'm trying to think. Do I have any other hard questions for you? You got them all.
Okay, good. Whew.
And what I love about this project is it's not just the city guiding, because this is a pilot project. We've never done this before. And so the city put together a host committee through an application process, and the host committee are made up of people, a lot of people of color, but people that are in some aspect of the business. So we have realtors, we have construction, folks that are contractors, architects, people that are developers, banks. So we have a good, some engineers. So we have and city staff from different departments, building, planning. And so it's really helping us guide how this program looks. And so how it looks now might not be how it looks next year, because it's like my motto, if it doesn't work, let's not do it. If it's safe to try, we try it. If it doesn't work, we do something different. So we're just trying to figure out what works and makes sense. And we were able to do this because an outside entity came to us and applied for a grant. So the city had to put up some money, but we also received a grant to fund this work.
Yeah.
So
I definitely appreciate the equity in the design of all the events, because when you're trying to do something and you're looking at a building or a vacant lot in your neighborhood, you have no idea how to get it done. This sounds like it's going to walk you through all those steps.
Yeah.
And then if you can even maybe get some funding or partner with the right people, and it's like, oh, okay, so that's how it's done. I always wondered about stuff like that, right? You don't get that many opportunities in real world situations to learn and do these things with help. It's usually just, you got to go to the bank and they're going to look at you like, what is this? So.
Yeah.
I think ultimately we're trying to address a lot of the vacant spaces that we have in our community.
Right.
And, me and Oak Park, Ari, your family, Del Paso Heights, it's been the same vacant spaces our whole life. We've been walking by these vacant spaces, and a lot of times the property owners, they don't know what to do with it, right? Or they don't have the financing to do something with it. And so it just becomes a blight. It becomes a dumping ground for folks. And I always tell people, you could dump trash in front of your own house and have the city or the county pick it up for free instead of putting it in your car or truck and driving it to my neighborhood on my street. That always blows my mind that y'all know you guys can have trash picked up in front of your house twice a year at no cost to you. All you have to do is call 311 and schedule it.
It's like, you wouldn't want it dumped in front of your house, so why would you dump it in front of anyone else's house?
I have to think that they don't know that the city or the county will come pick it up for free twice a year.
I think that's kind of part of it.
I think that's it. Because
why would you load it up in your car,
drive it,
use your own gas money,
wait till the middle of the night? Because it's like you never catch the people doing it. So it's like, what time of the night do you guys do it? Like 3 o'clock in the morning? Like, I don't know.
I be seeing couches on the freeway sometimes.
Right. It's like,
It's like, who
When
did
did
that?
they get here? Like,
Right.
Yeah.
yeah. So
Yeah.
information is key. We like to give out information. Call
Yeah.
311 to get your trash picked up.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Greta, thank you so much for providing information and answering questions that Greg usually has for me. I appreciate it.
So happy to.
You know, I always have to jab Greg, but
You're gonna have to have her on
appreciate-
speed dial.
right.
You got to phone a friend. I like to call my colleague Greta Soos.
I'm here.
Is that your final
Happy
answer?
to
That's my final answer, and I'm sticking with it.
Clock striking down. Tick, tick, tick.
Oh man, thanks for having me. This is so
Yeah.
fun.
Thank you.
It's
Thanks
so
for
cool that you
coming.
guys do this.
Yeah, thanks for vibing with us. Don't forget to follow us on our social media. We have a YouTube, we have a Spotify, most of all our Instagram. I'm going to put the link up again for y'all to check out for what is the name of the event?
It's for our small developer incubator program. It's
Small
the
developer.
free introductory lecture.
Introductory lecture.
And let me just say, our Instagram is fire. Greg, he cracks me up. If I'm having a bad day, I look at our Instagram and I'm like, I know other local governments are not doing this.
Yeah.
So true.
You're good. You're good at the Instagram.
Yeah, Greta, I'm going to get Greta to do something again. I had her featured on one.
Oh man, I thought Angel was gonna do it.
He's like, oh no.
Okay, both. You hear that, Angel?
No, I did have fun last time. So
Yeah.
Cool.
All right.
Well, thank you for vibing with us, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Bye.
Bye.